YouTube and music have been their own separate things for as long as we can remember. I mean, yeah, I can understand that music often gets uploaded to YouTube, but mainly, that's really the most we get to see out of it. However, our YouTubers are crossing over to make music, and musicians are now crossing over to make YouTube content. With both these industries crossing over, you often watch the death of many people's careers. There is, however, a very few amount of people that manage to pull off the content crossover, unlike me. Because I'm Siah G, and I make weekly commentary content for all of you. Today, we will explore YouTubers that became musicians, and even musicians that became YouTubers. Which that in itself is an odd world to explore, solely due to the fact that we just got out of a generation of diss tracks. Hey, do y'all remember how crazy Rice Gum was going? The song It's Everyday Sis? The audience really seemed to enjoy what their favorite YouTubers were putting out. Taking music seriously was something not seen too often from YouTubers, until we saw DDG do it. DDG is arguably the best YouTuber turned rapper. His songs gain the proper traction and exposure, he has a good rap voice, and lands the necessary features from relevant artists like Polo G, and at the time Gunna.
Yeah, I'm not a YouTuber no more though. I quit that. I'm a rapper.
If anyone knows pre-2018 DDG, then they would know that he was originally a vlogger. He still vlogs to this day, but back then, he was a PIMP. During this time, I'll say DDG's channel was arguably a couple's channel, except it had a different girl in every video back then, and nearly every video had a heart somewhere in the thumbnail. He spent his daily life vlogging, especially in college, before dropping out because of how much money he was pulling in as a YouTuber.
I got like a viral video, it was like a prank or something. And then I just started seeing crazy money. Then after that, I moved out, dropped out of college, moved to LA. And yeah, the rest is history.
But with time, YouTubers can get burnt out and I know the feeling far too well. Constant content creation can leave anyone not wanting to do anything anymore, and he probably needed more excitement in his life. The interesting part I found was that before YouTube, he was actually interested in music at a young age, and he took heavy inspiration from his father, who was an audio engineer. He eventually pumped out a diss track about Lil Yachty named Big Boat, and after a few more songs, he managed to land a collaboration with Famous Dex on a song called Lettuce, which gained about 500,000 views in the first hour. A lot of people hate on DDG, probably because they won't let go of the fact that he was a YouTuber. I think he earned full credibility and has the accolades to back them up. CHOPPA is a rapper that is slowly turning into a YouTuber, and surprisingly, his content is actually really good. But before diving into that, we need to recognize his music career, as he was coming up in a generation of rappers like Rod Wave and Lil TJ. He was never really seen by most of the public as someone that could be a YouTuber, as most people see artists as one-trick ponies. That vision on CHOPPA was stuck until people paid attention to his music videos and his Instagram stories, where his personality really shined. He had actually been a goofy kid before rap, and there's even old videos that showcase his personality. And this personality eventually led to moments in his music videos where he shows his Oscar-worthy acting by producing some of the best and most heart-tugging masterpieces that we've ever seen.
You're that broke, you need to steal $5?
Yes. You that broke, you need it back.
If you look at his channel, you'll see that originally he started off by making health-related and peaceful content, such as preparing for a food shortage, going through nature, or even giving vegan lessons. And fortunately, at this point, he already built up a fan base from his music career. But most artists often don't want to show what goes on in their daily lives. So NLE making a YouTube channel is something that's pretty rare to see. Now it looks like CHOPPA is having the most fun in his life. He often appears in videos alongside Gideon and Kai Cenat. CHOPPA is nearly the only artist that I know of that I feel can take over YouTube and actually be a really good content creator. So props to him for pulling this movement off, unlike 6ix9ine, which I think 6ix9ine had one of the biggest bursts of fame of all time. Literally every song he dropped was huge, and it seemed like nearly every song that he dropped was platinum. But while he didn't convert into a YouTuber, he was attempting to be a content creator. After all, he was featured in a lot of Nelk's content and even gained an interview on Impulsive. His growth strategy actually worked a little too well though, but that's mainly because everyone loves drama. And with him being a drama pumping machine, everyone had always tuned into his content to see who he was talking about next and what would happen to him if he did speak on someone. He took that type of content and ran with it, till he couldn't eventually run anymore and got caught in a restroom at LA Fitness. Even despite the ratting that he did, his whole content creation career didn't last long. But not because he was making bad content, he just really didn't have anywhere to run anymore. And with the case being built on him, he had to step away from social medias and not incriminate himself any more than he already did. But his music stint was huge, and he spent a good few years dissing some of the industry's biggest artists. This is a level no one should touch, and thankfully, KSI didn't. KSI was just a regular YouTuber who made a few diss tracks. He was also one of the rare few that really blew up his music career. KSI is a rare case on YouTube. He is successful in all aspects in his entertainment, earning him the label of a true entertainer, whether it's boxing, music, or the usual reaction content that he does. And like DDG, KSI did it right. He had a great fan base to begin with, but also had a hidden musical talent behind the scenes. However, I just remember KSI for his FIFA funnies. Those compilations I still think to this day are the funniest compilations on YouTube. And if you watch it now, it's even funnier than before because not only is the quality low, but KSI looked like a sugar baby. But let's not forget that KSI is the biggest black creator on YouTube. And if you look through all his content, including his music content, KSI was the greatest FIFA YouTuber to ever grace his platform. And he kept up this contagious and high energy for years, constantly screaming and overreacting. The crazy part is that KSI had achieved all of this before music. His diss tracks were pretty good for a YouTuber, but for one like Little Boy to pull in 66 million views is crazy. This gave a glimpse of what his fans really enjoyed about him, and that's mainly himself. And he was smart to take this and run because him making music allowed him to generate a second form of income. And to say his music is trash is subjective, but wouldn't make sense. His song Lamborghini? Well, 8 years ago, that had gained 125 million views, cementing itself as one of the top YouTuber-made songs of all time. He's at a height in his music career that nobody from YouTube even reaches. I will honorably mention Joji for making a crossover. Joji did it right and left behind his pink guy persona, but as a result, he was able to become a great musician, and it saved his mental health as well. I think Flight Reacts is getting a lot better too, so shout out to Flight. But it isn't always glitter and gold, and we've had brief stints from creators like Jake Paul, and while he's a great entertainer, also arguably one of the best on the platform, I can't say that his music was as good as his content creation. But his song, Fresh Out of London, everyone thinks a ghostwriter wrote it, which is likely the case. Because if you know Jake Paul from his older music, there's no way you go from repeating "It's Every Day, Bro" to having a song like that. But fair play, he did it right and actually has a voice for rapping. Also don't think that Rice Gum made good music either, but the tracks were always funny to me. And he did diss tracks right and had poor but good execution at the same time, if that makes sense. What's not making sense is the amount of creators that pridefully released music and thinking it was going to be an absolute banger. So, Phase Run, look, man, I'm sorry, man, but your music made me go stare at the sun for 2 minutes straight. Your music hits on mute. Your music is fire on mute. If I'm gonna get a little controversial, I think James Charles has a great voice, and I don't think a lot of people even know that James Charles can sing pretty well. But that's likely due to the demographics of his channel. I don't watch much makeup tutorials, so I never see his content. But as someone outside of his fan base, I can proudly say I'm a fan of his voice. Only reason why I call this controversial is because I'm not a fan of his interactions with his fans, if you know what I mean. If James had pursued a music career, I think he could have had a fair shot of actually making it pretty far. There's also some other YouTubers that have musical ability. Take Phantom and Chris next door from AMP. Both of them I think are highly talented individuals when it comes to music. And if I were to go off topic, I think Jack Harlowe's doing amazing. He makes music that everyone enjoys and steals all the black queens away from me. With his charming but funny personality, he was able to move over to movies and content creation easily. Even recently, he was able to star in a movie called White Men Can't Jump. But he's also seen in skits with Drewski. Jack Harlowe overall is an entertainer, and even looking into it, we now have professional athletes becoming Twitch streamers. I think when people either get bored of entertainment or YouTube, they search beyond what they're used to, because at the end of the day, everyone I mentioned in this video is an entertainer. They are designed to entertain you with their lives and talents. And as consumers, we can't help but eat whatever they throw at us. But if we're gonna speak about true entertainers, then you should check out Nico Omalana. So click this video to find out someone that did music and YouTube in tandem with huge success.